Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for joining us today for our webinar on personal dashboards. My name is Alex Moy. I'm the Director of SmartSimple, Director of Marketing here at SmartSimple. And let's move on to the next slide, please. Just a quick reminder to everybody, we are just about a month or so away from our Elevate annual conference taking place on the 17th to the 19th of October in Nashville. It's guaranteed to be an excellent training opportunity, an excellent opportunity for you to network with your peers. If you haven't done so yet and are planning to attend Elevate, we are really looking forward to seeing you. And along those lines, this year we are actually doing the block party, our final block party of the year here in North America, a day before the actual Elevate conference. So you get two events for the price of one in Nashville this year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the webinar over to Eric. I believe everyone knows Eric well. He is one of our co-founders and our Director of Customer Experience, and he's usually the one that typically runs these training webinars. So I don't think I need to do much more introduction than that. So Eric, please take it away.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everybody. Thanks for attending today. And I'm very excited to present to you our new feature that we launched in the last upgrade called for personal dashboards. So I thought I'd give you just a quick explanation of what that means. So a personal dashboard, you're all familiar with dashboards that we've had in the past. You've all seen things like this, where we can have aggregated shortcuts, maybe some charts and graphs, or maybe just some various links to components. So these have always been available on SmartSimple, but they've always been role-based. So that whether I'm a staff person, maybe I'm an applicant, maybe I'm someone working in an accounting department, I will have a different dashboard based on my role. So we thought we'd take that one step further, and also from feedback from you, our clients, in that we allow you to make your own personal dashboards. So when we say personal, we're referring to just you as the user. So I'm logged in here to a sample site called that we use for our webinars, and I'm logged in as myself. And under here, I'm able to access my own personal dashboard. So this one I've already kind of set up real quick, just to give you an idea of some of the things we can do in a personal dashboard. We can have list views, okay? We can have charts, and we can have aggregate icons that show us again, aggregate total of whatever that we wanted to count, for example, or summarize. We can also have as many dashboards as we like, unique to us as my own personal view. So what I'm going to do here is explain to you how I got to this page and how we can build that from scratch. So within the tool, the first thing you're going to need to do is enable the setting. Okay, so if we go into global settings and we go into security, we're going to see a list in here. And let me just maximize my screen here so you can maybe see it a little bit better. But we have a system feature permissions. So this is where a lot of our features are enabled or disabled. So you're going to go settings, and you're going to go feature permissions, and then you're going to scroll down here. You're going to see a lot of information. Really what you want to allow is the ability to create personal dashboards. And that's this setting here, enable personal dashboards. And in this binoculars for the lookup, you can just enable for what roles that you want to allow people to have these personal dashboards. So once you've done that, when you enable it and log back into the system or refresh if you're already part of that role, you're going to see a new menu option here under your name in the top right corner called My Dashboard. Okay, so by changing that setting, it allows you to have this new feature. And if I select it, it's going to bring me to this page here, which is blank, and that was intended. So we can build it from scratch. So in this case, I just have my regular nav bar at the top where I can go back to my previous screen, or I can select new. In this case, all I can do in step one is create a new dashboard. So by creating a new dashboard, I'm going to be presented with this pop-up window where I can give my dashboard a name. Okay, so let's just call it Webinar Dashboard for lack of a more inventive name, which I can't come up with on the spot here. And we're presenting you with one of 4 different layouts. So one of the caveats to creating a personal dashboard is we're actually limiting you to 6 panels per dashboard. And that's on purpose. So by allowing you to have 6 panels of these 4 layouts, we have more control over how we're going to present the information and controlling how it's going to look on the screen. Rather than having it a variable number where we have to guess and say, oh, they're going to have 1 or 5 or 100. In this way, by keeping it to 6, we can control the different layouts, and we can make sure that when it is being presented, we're making sure it's presented in a nice way. If you need more than 6 panels in your dashboard, then you can just create another dashboard. And like I said earlier, you can have as many dashboards as you like. Okay, there's no limit there. So maybe we'll start with this one here. I like the sort of 6 blocks. And I'll choose the 3rd option, and I'm going to click Save. So once I've selected the layout that I'd like to choose, I'm going to be brought to the new screen, and we're going to see some additional information here. So at the top, I have my dashboard selection menu. Okay, in this case, we just have the 1, so that's what I'm seeing here. And it's letting me know that I don't have any cards or sections created yet, and if I want to create a new one, I'm going to have to select the new card option. Okay. And I'll explain these 2 other icons later once we've got some information on the screen. But essentially, it allows us to edit the layout. If I want to change the one that I just picked, I can come back and choose a different layout. Or I can toggle my dashboard and add it to a previous feature that we've had in SmartSimple called Smart Cards. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a brand new card here. So one of the things that we need to do before we get into the dashboard, so in addition to enabling the security setting, you're going to want to have a set of list views that are ready to go with information that you want to present. So when I'm on this screen here, it's going to have me choose a name for that section. Okay, you can call it something. It's going to ask me to pick from one of several options, whether I want to see a list of items, maybe I want to have some sort of chart, or maybe I want to create some sort of aggregation. Once I've done that, it's going to say, well, what do you want this chart to be comprised of? Is it people, is it organizations, or is it coming from one of your UTAs, such as your budget manager or your grants manager, or your program manager, for example? Okay. And then it's going to say, well, based on that, it's going to ask me to choose from a record set, meaning a list view. So what kind of information do you want? So if I just close that for 1 second, I guess what you're going to want to do is prepare first and have a good set of list views that you can choose from or report on. So in this case, I've done some previous work before the webinar here, and I created a new list view called PD for Personal Dashboard -grants. But I can choose from any list view that I have available to me, and I can pick from that to control what I want to display under my chart and graph. And that could be a list view that's like this, that's just open. It's showing me a list of everything in the system. Or I can pick from a list view that maybe has a predefined filter for it, such as this one here that showed me all of my approved grants. Okay, so it doesn't matter, but it's one of the key things you're going to have to do first before you build your dashboard is to make sure you have a good set of list views to pick from of the information you're going to want to see presented in your dashboard. So let's go ahead and create a new card. And I'm right back here. And I'll just for making it easy and so I don't have to think of things on the spot, I'm just going to say card 1. This is the first one we're going to create. And let's go ahead, and I always like making a horizontal bar chart. And I'm going to say, I want to pick from one of my UTAs. Okay. And the record set I want to choose is the one that I've created specially for this. And that's going to be my PD-grants. Okay. So once I've selected my list view, it's going to ask me, well, what do you want to put in your X and Y axes? How do I want to display this information? So what I want to do here is, maybe I have a list of internal branches. So I'm going to have my X axis to be my branch, and then I'm going to have my Y axis be my, in this case, a field that I created that has the dollar sum. I want to sum the dollars for how much we awarded for those grants. So I can redefine my labels for the X and Y. Maybe I want to call this regional offices, for example, and in here I'm going to say total dollars. Okay, and as far as aggregation, I want to see a sum, but I can also pick from counts, average, or no aggregation at all. So I'm going to see a sum. So when I click Save, the screen's actually going to refresh behind my panel here, and it's going to build that chart for me behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and close this. And what it did is it took my list view and said, oh, aggregate by my region, okay? And then I'm going to do a sum of all the field that I picked, which is the awarded amount. And in this case, you can see that I relabeled regional office, and I have total dollars here for my X and my Y. If I go ahead and I choose one of these items, they're interactive, and I can drill down, and I can see where that summary came from, okay? And then I can go back and get to my home screen. So this is the one section, and because, like I said, we're limiting it to 6, it already sectioned this chart off, and it knew the size of this chart. So it says, I'm going to give you, in this section here, I'm going to control the width and the height of the chart, and it's going to present it to me in a nice way. So I'm going to go ahead at New, and create a second card this time. So let's choose something else, and we'll call it Card 2. And maybe in this case, I will keep it to, let's go with a pie chart. But this time, I want to see something based on organizations, okay? And I have a number of different list views that are related to organizations. So I'm going to do this time cause category, and I want to take, maybe we'll base it on state in this case, and we'll do a count. So let's see how that pans out. So it's good that if you're familiar with your data, it's going to help you build your own personal dashboards, okay? In this case, I don't think I picked a great one, and we don't have much data in here, but I get a nice pie chart with my legend here at the bottom, and it breaks down what's in every section. And again, if I select it, it'll let me drill down and get into the details, okay? So depending on the chart or graph or the type of information you want to see, that's going to control what's presented. So already, when we get to the point of creating these dashboards, all you really have to do is pick and choose the information that you want to see. So for the next card, we'll choose a straight up list view, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say card 3, and I'm going to choose list view, and then I'm going to choose from my UTA again. But in this case, I'm going to choose the one that I had with a predefined filter, and I'm going to say I want to see all of my approved grants. Okay. So what this is going to do is very simple. It's not going to do anything other than display a list view for me. Again, it's keeping it within the framework of the card layout that we had. Okay. It's going to choose the same list view that I had on the previous screen. Okay. And here's my information. Again, and they're just as interactive as the other cards. I can select this row and get into the record itself. Okay. And I'll add one more card just for good measure to show you how the aggregation works. Okay. In this case, maybe I will do aggregation. And once I choose aggregation, I can select the plus sign. So it's going to say, well, what do you want to aggregate? So I'm going to say, let's do a count of, I'm going to call it staff. And the entity I'm going to pick is going to be users. And the record set, I'll get one called employees. And I want to aggregate by email. Okay, because I know email is going to be the unique identifier for each person, and I want to do a count, okay? And I can choose from different number formats. So maybe if I'm going to be in the thousands, maybe I want to put commas between the numbers. If I'm dealing with dollars, I can format the number as a currency, or I can even choose it as an abbreviation. Maybe it's going to be in the millions. I can go 23M or 2K for 2000, for example. So in this case, I'll just choose none. And we can choose the precision. So I'm going to say, actually, I just want a whole number, which it would be anyway since we're dealing with a staff count. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and we can see here behind the scenes it already refreshed, and it says we have 8 staff. But once I create an aggregate card, I can create as many of these as I want. So maybe let's go regions, and in this case, I'm going to choose the entity of companies, which is the organizations, and I'm going to just do my default list view. And I'm going to pick by, let's pick by organization name, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just do a count, and I want a whole number, and let's see what we get here. Okay, so we have 107 different regions, or whatever we want to call it. That's basically all the different ways that we can create our dashboards. So we can have these aggregate shortcuts, we can have list views, and charts and graphs. And they're all being pulled from various list views that we've created. So really, as long as you had your list views, you can go ahead and create these personal dashboards. I can create another dashboard if I like. I can change my each individual card. If I choose the little pencil for the edit, I can go in. Maybe I want to change the chart type to something else. Maybe I want to pick a different list view, or I want to change my aggregation. It's up to me, or delete it altogether. I can also change the layout of my entire dashboard by editing the dashboard itself. And I can say, well, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe I want to do it this way. And if I save that, it's going to refresh on the back end screen there, and we're going to see we have a different layout. It's going to mix the cards up based on how we've chosen. What we can also do is, once we've defined the layout here, I can drag and drop and choose the position of the cards and where I want them in the particular screen. Okay, so that's all the different things that we can do with the dashboard. Move them around, edit, change them. And the final thing is, and again, it's not really about this on this webinar, is the ability to add these dashboards to smart cards. So this will allow you to put these in your smart card section and actually share them with other people. So if you've built a nice dashboard, you can go ahead and say, well, I want to add it to my test card here, and it'll now be available in my smart card section, which is again found on the main menu. Okay, and I'm going to see that I have my test card, which I can then share with others in my organization, and they can have access now to my dashboard. So this is where we are at with the personal dashboards at this stage. We plan to add more of these smart card-like features to the dashboards, where you'll be able to share them directly from the dashboard page rather than via smart card. So that's really where we're going with our personal dashboard making. So maybe at this stage, guys, I'm going to keep it pretty quick. I know everyone's time is valuable. We're 20 minutes in, but maybe we'll open up the call now to some Q&A if anyone has any questions or wants me to do a deeper dive. But I wanted to present to you how to actually build these. And sorry, I know I will stop talking in a second, but if you've attended our upgrade webinar, I would have touched on this a little bit already, but I didn't go so deep into how to make them. I would have maybe just explained them. Mm-hmm. So, Claudine, anyone?
Yeah, so first question we have right now is, can the horizontal chart have the bars auto-sorted from high to low?
That's a great question. It's actually just based on the list view at the moment. So there isn't any default sorting applied in my list view, so it's just randomly sorting them in whichever way it finds it. Yeah. So you can based on the list view. Again, so it's the list view that's driving it. So you wouldn't change the sort values in the chart here in the dashboard. You would do that via your list view. So make your list view, and say you want to sort ascending or descending based on the amount or something like that. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Eric. Next question is, can someone edit your dashboard even if they're given access through the smart card?
If they're given access through the smart card and you allow them to edit, they can edit the smart card, but they can't edit your dashboard. That's personal to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next one, can we define the order of your X or Y data points from the list view shows in the chart? For example, if I have a bar chart and the X-axis shows the grant statuses, and I want the statuses to show up in the order they appear in the workflow, is that possible?
That's a good question. I'd have to double check. It probably depends on, again, how the system's picking it up. So as long as so if you mean by your workflow and sort of like draft, submitted, and then off under review and approved, it should naturally do that as long as the statuses are in the correct display order.
Okay, so yeah. There's just a follow-up question on this. Can we sort statuses and the list view by the workflow order?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Next question, can we create dashboards in classic version?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. This is, yeah, a lot of the new features, if you're still in classic, it is a good just to maybe point out, while we're not deprecating it, a lot of our new features and functionality we are keeping for or only working them in our new Arcadia or interface that you're seeing today on the screen.
Okay, and another one that we have right now are the created list views in the system, or are the created list views in the system, or are they personal list views?
Either or. So it could be system or personal list views, as long as you have access to see it. So when I pull up the list view, If in my role I can see that list view, then I'm able to choose it for my personal dashboard. If I don't have access to that list view in my role, then I will not be able to choose it to create a dashboard.
Okay. There's another one over here. Earlier, we had an issue with importing level 2 data on the dashboard, especially aggregation. Is it still the case?
I'm not too sure. I mean, importing is a separate function, so as long as the data lives within SmartSimple and you can create a list view from it, then you can create a chart from it. So again, it flows down into the actual discrete set of fields and data that you have. If the data is in the system, whether it's a level 1 or level 2 or level 3 for that matter, if you're able to create a list view, then you're able to use that list view in any one of these sections.
All right. Next one we have would be, can one personal dashboard be copied and shared with another one of our staff members?
Yeah, so you can create that through the cards. Maybe I'll just, people have been asking about the smart cards, so we have some time. Yeah, smart cards can be shared with select users. So I don't know if Alex is in here, I'll pick on him, maybe not. Nope, but you can pick a particular person, I know Sharon is. So I can say, I want to share this card only with Sharon. Or I can say, I want to share this card with this role, okay? And then if I want others to edit the card, like I said before, it's only editing the card, not the dashboard, then I can go ahead and enable that function there too.
All right.
So the answer is yes, either an individual or many individuals or an entire role.
Okay, thank you. And another one that we have is there full functionality to build or test this in backup, and are you able to modify the default font size?
No, so none of that, no. So yes on the backup, so whatever's on production, you can test on the backup. However, it is locked in terms of the style at the moment. But being that this is sort of the first iteration of this feature, we are looking for, you'll hear me say this a lot, whether you've attended any of our block parties or via our webinar, your feedback is invaluable to us. So as you use this feature and you're asking for things such as different sorts, maybe it warrants putting a sort feature here in the cards rather than the list view. So, or maybe, hey, we want to be able to change how these things are presented. So please give us your feedback. We're really interested in how we can improve this feature. So for those of you who may not know, a lot of the times we'll release these features and get it to a certain set of functionality that is usable and it has, warrants some utility, but we really get to take it to the next level based on the feedback you guys provide and see how people are using them. And that's really where we like to go. We don't want to go too far down one path when it turns out everyone's using it in a different way that maybe we could have thought of. So we like to give you the base functionality here, and then as you guys give us feedback, we can then improve upon this and kind of take it to the next level.
Got it. All right, so next one we have is, are we able to add dashboards for other users? I understand that we can share a smart card with them that links to our dashboard, but I'd like to create a dashboard for a specific staff member so that they could access it by clicking on, in quotation marks, my dashboard.
Sure. So there's a couple ways to handle that. If you're not aware, and I suggest you can check out our wiki, but we have a feature called emulation mode. So again, you can enable that through the global settings, security feature permissions, where I can actually emulate another user. So I don't have to log out as them, log in as them. I can actually say, I'm going to log in to the system as Claudine. And while I'm logged into Claudine, I can do all the things Claudine can do. So in that case, I can then create my own personal dashboard as Claudine. And then when I'm done emulating, when Claudine actually logs in as herself, she'll see the dashboard and be able to do what you want. So that's one way. We can also take these dashboards and make them as part of a portal. So in this case here, for those of you who are administrators and do portal design, I can go ahead and say, I want to copy this link address, and then in my portal, whether I want it as a shortcut, as I've shown you here, I can have just like a shortcut icon. Maybe it says my dashboard. I can click on it, or I can set it as my, like what I've done here, as my main page or home page or whatever text you want to include. And I can make it its own menu item, so it's the first thing I see when I log in. Also, people, if you're not aware of it while I'm here, there is another menu item here that says set as home page. So you're not limited to having the first item in the menu be your home page. If I want you know, if I want the BI dashboard to be my homepage, I can go here and say, set this screen as my homepage. So now, when I log in, if I go here and if I, you know, click home, it's going to bring me to the BI dashboard page. So that's an option too. So I can just go here, my dashboard. Once I'm on this screen, I can then say, set this as my homepage. And if I navigate somewhere else, click back on my home button. For those of you who didn't know, you can click your logo in the top left corner, and that is the home key, and it'll bring you to your homepage.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Eric. And then lastly, can you quickly recap on how to enable personal dashboards? I feel like there's so much information. Like I think we have to remind everyone on how to turn this on.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I know I tend to kind of going through it quickly today. So, again, you'll have to get, if you're not an administrator, you'll have to get your administrator to do this, but you can click on, you'll hear us here at SmartSimple say the main menu. When we say main menu, we're actually talking about the grid in the top right corner. Once you select that, you can choose global settings, okay? If you don't see global settings, then you are not the administrator, and you will have to ask your administrator to do this for you. And then you can select the security tab, okay? And there's a lot of neat little features here, but you'll find a link called System Feature Permissions. So again, for those who attend our regular upgrade webinars, you'll hear me talk about global updates, on-demand updates. These on-demand updates are here. So these are features that you're going to have to enable before you can use them. And a lot of them are found here under feature permissions, okay? So all you need to do is scroll down, find the feature that you're looking for. Just as a little shortcut, I can do a Control F in my browser, and I can type up the word dashboard and jump right down to it if that's easier. And then it's just a matter of selecting the binoculars and choosing which roles that you want to enable so that they see the My Dashboard in their personal user menu. Okay, so this allows you to keep these kind of things to maybe staff people or particular roles where you want them to have personal dashboards, but you don't want to open it up for, let's say, your applicant.
Okay. I have another question here. Alex, this might be actually for us. What is the best source for definition, smart card, dashboard cards, etc., background on these features, especially to orient new staff to this feature? Would it be a saved webinar or a wiki?
Yeah, I would say, actually myself and Claudia and Nas, we work quite closely, including our support team, to run these kinds of webinars regularly. And we've just started a new, maybe Alex wants to talk about the new videos.
I would say so. What we've started doing is producing about 2 or 3 minute feature videos. Claudine, actually, if you want to go to your YouTube, Eric, if you want to go to YouTube, just real quickly. And I think we have been featuring some of these in the newsletters, but if you haven't navigated to our SmartSimple YouTube channel, you'll be able to find them.
And maybe, Alex, if I can interject just for a second. For those of you who are ever looking for something about SmartSimple, if you've ever used the wiki, the internal wiki search tool is okay, but we've been on the internet so long that Google does a great job of finding SmartSimple related topics. So you can type in things like what I just did here, SmartSimple YouTube, and it'll take me right to where I need to go. And we can find them, I think there are a whole bunch.
Yeah, actually, if you go to playlists, the third one, it's broken down by category. Perfect. So as you can see, there are SmartSimple features, the 4th one over. Yeah, if you click into there, that'll give you all the newest videos for features that we've done. So we just started doing this about a month ago, so obviously there are many more features that need to be populated into this playlist, but the plan is for us to try and release a new video every single week. So if there are ones that are a little bit more pressing than others, by all means, let us know. We sort of have our own order for how we're producing these videos and which ones we're doing first, but if there are more pressing ones that you'd like to see feature videos for, we can certainly move that up to a priority scale.
All right. I think that's all there is so far. Are there any more questions before we wrap up this webinar? Eric, I think we've covered everything. Again, if there's this is one of our new features from the upgrade. There will be some follow-up questions, so, or if anything, feel free to reach out. We're just going to do a quick recap of what we have going on events-wise. So, if you're interested, we'd really love to see you at Block Party Nashville on October 17th as part of the pre-conference activities that we have going on for Elevate. Elevate will be happening from October 17th to 19th at the Sheraton Grand Nashville. I don't know how much more we could stress it, but this is the biggest event that we have every year. And this event is definitely something that you shouldn't miss. And for our friends in Europe, we are having Block Party Dublin in November 22nd. So save the date for that. Science Foundation Ireland will be hosting it. Oh, see, we just had a suggestion here to have a session on smart cards or personal dashboards at the conference. So.
Well, yeah, that's great. Who was that?
Angela.
Angela, that's great. Always great comments from you guys. I appreciate that. So kudos to you. Yeah, we're running, for sure. We can take a look at that, and it'll definitely be discussed as part of our, roadmap and development changes. Presentations, you'll see us talk about that there.
I might also add that if you arrive early for Block Party, as in you come on the pre-conference day, where we're running workshops as well as Block Party Nashville, what we're also running throughout the day are business consultations. So if you've got specific questions, we'll have staff on hand where you can book some time with them, and you can ask them whatever questions you like, and it'll be a one-on-one session.
On top of that, aside from having it on October 17th, we have it after the conference, the afternoon of October 19th. If, for example, you decide to stay a little bit longer in Nashville, we're still there during the afternoon to take consultations with pretty much anything you'd like to know about SmartSimple.
Great.
All right.
If no other questions, guys, then appreciate your time today as always. Thanks for your support and thanks for attending. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.